Welcome everybody to my second Super Fantasy Brawl playthrough. This one sees Kilgore, Deryn and Rath taking on Dugrun, Akhet and Sulka. So at the start of the match, this is where the oranges are positioned and this is where the purples are positioned. The purples are going first. There are the traps. And our first objective is have 2 or more champions in trap hexes. To begin with, Akhet is swooping 4, and so he is just going to swoop this way. Sulka played the red mind control. She moved 2 to there and took 2 damage. Then she removed the top card from the opponent's deck. That was, of course, Deryn. So she moved him just 2 with a force and put him on the trap, and so he has taken 1 damage. With the 2 new trap tokens being placed there like this. Dugrun's got no decent cards, so he just played a single action to move up 2. To begin with, they play the blue Rath Nightshade. He moved 2, so he went onto that trap X there, unfortunately taking 3 damage. Then he drew 2, planned 1, and lastly he put the new trap just there. Deryn plays the heavy shot. He doesn't move, but 2 or 3 away he did a lot of damage actually. 3 damage to Sulka, and then because he's on a trap hex he pushed 2. For the last action, Rath just played a yellow heal and healed himself for 1 damage. So it's still not a piece at the end of this round, but the new card out is Control the Manipulation Area. Dugrun played a Shield Slam, so that meant he just dashed forwards 2 and pushed all adjacent enemies. So he got pushed into the side, he got pushed onto that trap, and he suffered 3 health. What an amazing card that was. Dugrun then played Blizzard. He moved for 2 to there, right next to Deryn. Attacked Deryn for 2 damage. He had nothing to counter it, so yeah, received the 2 damage. And then it deals 1 damage to each other enemy. So obviously that took out Rath, and that gained them 1 point. And Deryn got a level up. Lastly, all I did with Sulka was move 1 and heal 1. First up, we use the yellow core to get Rath back on the board and just move him to there. Kilgore played throw, so he moved 2 onto that trap hex, suffered 2 damage, and then his adjacent ally Rath could be thrown for 3. So he's now controlling the blue area. To end the turn, Deryn doesn't move, but he plays his red to deal 1 damage to an adjacent enemy, and so Dugrun takes 1 damage. At the end of the round, the purples are 1-0 up, and the new challenge is Control the Creation Area. Dugrun plays Knockdown, so doesn't move, just hits Deryn for 2 damage, and allies will now get +2 on the attacks until the end of the turn against Deryn. Sulka then plays Life Drain. She just moved 1 of the 2. Deryn was 3 away. She hit him for 2, but because of suffering the +2 also from Dugrun's attack, she did 4 damage, and so she knocked Deryn out, leveling herself up and gaining 1 more point. She also lifestealed, so she completely healed all the damage that she had received. For the last action, which was a red, Deryn just moved a 1 onto the trap hex. So at the start of the turn, the oranges control the manipulation area, so they gain 1 point. So Rath decided to burrow. He jumped 2 to this point here, hit Akhet for 3, which only did 2 damage, and then jumped another 2 to place him there. He then played double dealing. He moved for 1, putting him in the yellow area. Then 2 away, targeted Sulka, and he hit her for 2 damage, and then 2 damage again because of the double, so she suffered all 4 damage. Lastly, Deryn just moved back onto the board with his 2 move. So at the end of that round, it is 2-1 to the purples, And the new card is at least 2 of your champions should be levelled up. At the start of the turn, the purples have 2 or more champions in trap hexes, so they gain 2 points. That puts them on 4-1, 1 away from victory. First up, Akhet has played Healing Tears, so he moved 2. He's moved 2 to there. And we have discarded a blue card to heal Sulka, so she's back down to just 2 wounds. Dugrun used a red to just move 1 and deal 1 damage to an adjacent enemy, so he hits Rath. And then Sulka has just moved 2 to try and get a bit of protection. So Rath plays double dealing. He moved 2, aimed at Sulka for 2 away, and then hit her for 2, which is doubled, so he did 4 damage to Sulka. Rath then plays the sneak attack. Moves 2, does 2 damage to Sulka, and of course that is enough to knock her out. There's not a lot to do. Deryn plays a hit and run, so he just moved to there, shot at Akhet 2 away for 2 damage, which ended up being just 1, and didn't bother dashing. And the main reason he didn't is because he couldn't stop that score at the end of the round because Dugrun was in the yellow creation area. So they ended up getting 2 points, which makes the score 6-2 to the purples. So the team of Akhet, Sulka and Dugrun were successful, and it seemed to me like a bit of a thrashing. I just think they got lucky on the cards, realistically. That one move when Dugrun come to there and pushed him off and into a trap, and oh yeah, it was just chaos. They got unlucky. The Rath did at the beginning, I feel. Landed himself on, what, 2 traps with -3 health? Yeah, that's just unluckiness. So nothing could be done. This team does seem mightily strong. The other team didn't really do much, did they? I really like Deryn, and Rath can do a bit of damage. Kilgore is a tank, so he needs to get into the fight, and he didn't have time to really get into the fight, I feel, in that game. But yeah, 6-2 seems like an absolute thrashing. I hope you've enjoyed this one anyway. Please subscribe for more Super Fantasy Brawl content. I tend to play a few more matches of this, mixing the teams up. And I shall see you in the next one.